my life-changing story. My head game. I decided to challenge the meaning of my terminal cancer diagnosis. I pushed myself mentally and physically to the extreme, taking part in some of the toughest endurance races in the world. I challenged my body, I challenged my mind, I took on my head game and won. How are you living your life? I challenge you to open your mind, face your fears, and rewire your thinking. I challenge you to beat your very own head game in order to compete in the toughest endurance event there is. Ask yourself, do you have time to wait? Because you are terminal. What are you doing about that?
Still get goosebumps when I watch that, Richard. Welcome everybody to our Wednesday Right with Wednesdays with Richard. Liesel Grijvenstein from Grijvenstein's Attorneys, welcome. And Richard, our speaker, welcome. Everybody out there, once again, thank you for welcoming us into your homes. We appreciate that. And over to you, Liesel.
Good afternoon, Cor. Good afternoon, Richard, and good afternoon to everyone joining. It's such a beautiful, calm day where I am today, in stark contrast to what may be going on in the hearts and minds of millions around the world. When I was finalizing tomorrow's legal training notes this morning and realizing how lockdown legalities are changing the way we work, it struck me that whilst we are all in this together, when Richard Wright heard the news that he was terminally ill, he faced that all alone. Never being one to allow fear to be debilitating, he simply stood up and got stronger. So how lucky are we to be inspired by Richard, and how lucky are we to have him here to tell the story. So Richard, a special welcome. I'm privileged to know you as a friend, and I've known you for many, many years. You have always been the same person. So welcome. Thank you for making yourself available.
Thank you so much, Liesl. And I just want to say that thank you to both of you. You have just through everything. And what's going to come out of this session today is some of the stuff I've been through. And you've been in my corner the entire time. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. And thank you so much. And what you've done for me is what you're doing for all the agents out there. And I think that's absolutely remarkable. And in the midst of a crisis, you didn't just say, you know, let's just sit back and wait for the deeds office to open again. It was how can we help and how can we make a difference? And you're doing that. And so hats off to you. Hugely, hugely commendable. And thank you for the privilege of allowing me to be a part of that. Thank you.
Over to you, Richard. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. So hello, everybody. I'm in Johannesburg at the moment. And you are all over the place, and what a privilege it is to be here. For those of you who missed the first session last week, Wednesday, I was going to do a short little catch-up, and I thought, no, let's not do that. So you're not getting a catch-up. But what I am going to do is I'm going to bring in some of what we did in the last session into this session, because I think it dovetails quite nicely. So I'm going to kick off straight away. I'm going to share my screen. Let me just find the right slide here. I still haven't worked out. See, I was an estate agent in my previous life, and we're not so technically brilliant. How to land on the right page, but there we go. I finally get there. Estate agents always get there in the end. So here's the collaboration. Thank you very, very much. Let's get to the first slide. So today is 11-something. I don't even know what day it is in lockdown. And you know what I tried this morning? I thought, you know, I've seen that that comment out there from somebody that said, do yourself a favor. Every week in lockdown, just try on those jeans, you know, the jeans that fit you. And when you know, the ideal weight, just try those jeans on, because pajamas and tracksuit pants have this tendency to make us feel good about ourselves. So this morning was, I need to get ready for this presentation, and maybe I should wear jeans. You know, I should dress up for this thing. And I then put the jeans on, and I looked at Deborah, my partner, and I said to her, do these jeans make my bum look fat? And here's the answer. It's Loki, my dog, and my dog now has the jeans. It's been so bad. So I'm now wearing pants from Cotton On, and they are called urban joggers. They're like baggy, and they make me feel comfortable. I don't think I'm ever going to fit into jeans again. That's what lockdown's doing to me. I hope you guys are surviving it better than me. So today's session is going to be entitled Live in the Now. And I think that's incredibly, incredibly important that we live in the now. And some of you might say, Richard, are you mad? Why would I want to live in the now? Because the now is messy and painful and hard and uncomfortable and yeah, it's horrible. I don't want to live in the now. Yeah, I'd rather go back to what was. I want yesterday back. In fact, not yesterday, I want 3 weeks ago back. Or I just want to get into the future, or I'm worried about the future, and I'm kind of trapped in this place. So this is one of my favorite quotes. You cannot suffer the past nor the future because they do not exist. What you are suffering is your memory and your imagination. Think about that. You cannot suffer the past nor the future because they do not exist. What you're suffering is your memory and your imagination. That's why it's so important that we spend our time living in the now. And what does now look like, and how do we manage that space? And for those of you in the session last week, you'll remember that I spoke quite a lot about figuring out what are the things that you can control and how do we accept the things that we cannot control. Because until we have accepted those things, we cannot really move on into that space of creative genius where we can really spark and something incredible can come out of this time. I believe that there is incredible opportunity all around us. And I'm going to say this, and you're going to hate me for it. I almost don't know if 3 weeks is long enough for the human brain to really accept the fact that we have to radically change. And maybe it should be a little bit longer to force us. You know, we kind of got halfway, and now we're kind of moving out of what we think is going to be lockdown. And maybe for humanity to really hit the reset button, it needs to be a bit longer, despite the fact that I hope it isn't. So, what we spoke about last time was about leadership of self, and that really is all you can do right now is leadership of self, is leading yourself. And leading yourself means leading your thoughts. It means controlling whatever is coming into your silo. I hope that you guys are making your bed every single morning now. Yes. I really hope you're doing that. I hope there's a structure. I hope there's a routine. I hope that you're getting up with an alarm and at the same time every single day. I hope the routine has got some really cool stuff like some exercise. I got up really early this morning. It was dark, and I did an hour of exercise, and wow, what a difference that made. It was incredible. I'm trying to do that every day. But I really hope that your schedule looks like that. And if you're managing to do that, you're leading yourself. My girls are looking to me to be an example. How does dad handle a crisis? How does dad handle, how are dad's moods during the crisis? How does dad handle bad news? How does dad handle homeschooling? So what we've done right now is they've got a timetable, and they're doing exactly, McKinnon is following the same classes that she would do in school every single day, all on her own, with this ton of work. And that's leadership of self within herself. And we don't have to help a lot with that. So I'd like to think that she got that from somewhere. So look at that. Ach, is hy nie oulik nie. That was Richard at around about sort of just before 16. I think that was about 14 years of age. I tried to find a photograph when I was 16. And the reason I wanted to show you a photograph of 16 is number one, that was the last time I had hair. Just kidding. I still have hair. I don't know what it looks like anymore though. I haven't let it grow for years and years and years. But that's what I look like. Shame. Look at that poor dude. He's got braces. He's got thick glasses and thick wavy hair. Man, that guy looks like a nerd. Wow. Hey, how bad is that? And some people might say, oh, cute, but that's like the best comment I'm going to get in terms of that picture. So think about this for a second. When I was 16, 3 friends and myself, 4 of us, decided that we were going to ride our bicycles from Northcliffe in Johannesburg out to the Machalis because we were going to go to Lovers Rock. And for those of you who have never been to Lovers Rock, that's what the one side looks like. It's on, I think it's the Henops River, I think, out near Magaliesburg, but it was about a 30-odd kilometer ride to get there. So these are school kids. Those are the days when riding a bike was kind of safe. We had no helmets in those days because it wasn't a legal necessity. And we decided backpack on, some Toebroekies in the backpack, and we were going to go to Lovers Rock. We were going to jump off this nice high rock, and it was going to be an adventure for us. How cool is this? And so that's the road, the bridge that you can see there. And you jump off, you climb all the way up, and you stand on this big rock, and then you jump off the rock into the water in the river below, and then you kind of scramble all the way up, around, and back and do it again. And it's an awesome thing to do. But let me just remind you what I look like. That's what I look like. And if you can see, you look closely, you know when somebody's got really bad eyesight, it's that guy. So now I'm standing on top of the rock. I'm thinking, well, I don't want to jump off with no glasses because I'm not going to be able to see, because my eyes were about a -7 in those days. Now it's worse, but -7 in those days. So it was really bad. And how on earth am I going to jump into the water? I can't see. And now I'm going to have to make my way and clamber up the rocks and thorn bushes and whatever else to get back to where my bag is with my glasses. So I came up with a great idea. I thought, you know what I'm going to do? So it's glasses that look pretty much like this, right? I thought, I'm going to dive off this rock and I'm going to hold my glasses like this. I'm just going to hold them on. And then when I hit the water, they're going to stay in my face. So I jumped off and woo, all the way down, splash. I came back from out of the water and I'm looking around and like, I don't think I can see so well. And I put my fingers up and I could put my finger through where the lenses were. In other words, the force of the water left the glasses on my face, but took the lenses out. So now we're on a bicycle, 35 k's from home, and I can see nothing. That was one of my true lessons in how to survive stuff. We didn't have cell phones in those days. I couldn't phone mommy or daddy. I think there was a ticky box that I tried to get hold of my folks on, but I had no other option than to cycle back right behind somebody else's bicycle and make it back. Now, since then, a lot of stuff has happened in my life. I then left school and I went to varsity to become a lawyer, like those 2 amazing people you saw on the screen earlier, only I'm not a lawyer and they are. I decided this was not what I wanted to do. I changed courses halfway through my 3rd year and decided to do psychology and philosophy, and then dropped out because triathlon came along. So there was a big failure, and I somehow had to make something out of my life. My folks were very disappointed. I started up a swimming school, and that was amazing until Virgin Active came along. And when Virgin Active came along, they doubled or almost tripled our rent, and we were told we were not allowed to teach any non-members at the gym anymore. And that was literally, I mean, there was more than half my income was slashed. It was gone. And I had a mortgage that I had to pay, and we had cars, and we were married, and it was a really, really tough time. So then I had to reinvent myself all over again, and I became an estate agent. So like most of you, we don't become an estate agent because we choose to be. Life kind of forces us in that direction for most of us. It's like the only option out there. And I didn't have a degree or anything, and I needed the money, and I became an agent. And that was great. We were married and things were fine for a while. I became a really successful estate agent. My ex-partner and I were top 10 partnerships in South Africa for a number of years. We were at the Nedbank Property Professional Association, or whatever it is, awards. We did incredibly well. The house, the cars, the whole toot. And then life fell apart again. I had an affair, made a spectacular mistake again, and then tried to patch up the marriage. We moved down to Port Elizabeth, had an amazing property there, but the writing was on the wall, and landed up going through a divorce. And that was really hard, and it was a very tough thing for me to go through. But it didn't end there. It was in 2008, 2009, we'd overextended ourselves, made some big financial commitments. I was making no money as a estate agent. The bank took the house, and we had to sign an acknowledgement of debt for 1.8 million rand. We were in the middle of massive debt. How on earth do you get out of that? How are we going to survive this now? And then it just got worse. My ex-wife decided she wanted to move out of Port Elizabeth and take the girls back to Johannesburg. I had to agree. And there I was living in Port Elizabeth. My girls weren't even there. It was a very tough time, and I was battling to keep my head above water. I then got an amazing job with Pam Golding Properties, the national training manager, and that meant that I could move, and I started to slowly survive and get out of this place and pull myself back together again. I moved 7 times in 9 years. Every single time I was like, whoa, just wore me down. I just need to survive it again. I need to survive it again. I need to survive it again. I then got terminal brain cancer, and that was a big one, especially when I was told I had 6 months to live. Told a very aggressive cancer, and nobody survives it. That was incredibly tough, and how am I going to survive this? I just went into remission, and I was celebrated being one of 120 people that have ever survived that form of cancer in the world. And I'm thinking, oh, this is amazing. And I had an armed robbery. 3 men came into my house, held me up by gunpoint. I'd cancelled my short-term insurance because I was dying. Who needs short-term insurance? I'd got rid of everything I didn't need when I moved out of a house because I had 6 months to live. So in other words, these guys cleared me out and took only the things that I had left, and those are the things that I really needed. I had no money to replace them. I had medical debt above my eyeballs. It was a really tough time. How on earth am I going to survive this? I was just getting myself back together again, and terminal brain cancer for the 2nd time. That was another year. I decided to do a bunch of events like Ironman. I did 2 Ironman races that year. I did Ironman Wales, which is one of the hardest Ironman races in the world. I decided that I was going to try and overcome cancer, survive cancer, by putting myself through mental challenges. Because if I can do that, I can survive brain cancer. But how on earth do I survive it again? Then I went into remission on the 4th of December that year. On the 5th of December, I phoned up Andrew Golding and I said, right, that's it. I'm in remission. I'm resigning. I'm now going to become a professional speaker. This is what I've always wanted to be, and here's my opportunity. And life said, sorry, Rich, and I got terminal brain cancer again. And you know what it's like. You're starting a brand new career from scratch, from nothing, and it's so hard. And it's just like you. You're only as good as a number of people who know you, like you, and trust you. And that's what your game is right now. And we're going to chat about that a bit later, because I'm going to end up off with some really practical things that I think that you could be doing right now. I asked myself the question, Richard, if you were back to being an estate agent again, what would you be doing right now? And I've come up with some things that I would be doing, and maybe take it, leave it, some of the things that you could consider doing. So it doesn't end there. I've had some spectacular failures in my life, massive failures in my life. I've made some huge mistakes. And just when I thought it was all coming right, think about this, I'm thinking, wow, 2 years. And you know what it's like when you go to a brand new areas in the estate agent, it takes you about 2 years before you become a bit of a household name, and you feel like you are actually, I'm doing some sales. This is good. And my first 2 months of the year matched about half, a third to half of my income last year. It was just the most incredible start to the year. My calendar behind me was just chock-a-block. And in 3 days, I saw every single one of those bookings disappear. So in 3 days, I was wiped out. All my future business wiped out. For those of you who listened to Robin Banks on Monday, also speaker, same thing. It just, wow. So now I'm back in that place where I went into remission earlier in the year, thinking life is fantastic financially. I'm feeling stable. This is so cool. man, I'm going to catch a break, and future business wiped out. Whew. So I'm back in the same place as you, where I'm looking at the future thinking, wow, what now? WTF moment. You know, how do I pick myself up from all of this stuff? How do I move forward? And I think to a large extent, I've showed the picture to people who've seen the last presentation. This is what I look like, the first cancer prognosis after the brain op, before the radiation. I really felt like a victim. There are many times in my life I've felt like a victim. A lot of that stuff I've caused myself, and those are good lessons that I had to learn, and I try to learn the lessons and do the hard work in psychologically and emotionally improving myself and evolving, but it just keeps on coming on and on and on and on, and I kind of think, how much resilience does one person have to prove to himself and to the world? So you might be feeling a bit like this right now, but here's the thing, here I am, woohoo, I survived. I've survived every single one of those things, and here I am. And this I must tell you, at the number of people that are currently watching this, we're into the 752, I can see it on my screen here, that you are currently the biggest audience that I have ever spoken to. Think of 752 people in a room. That's massive, 753, it's going up. It's massive. I'm sort of used to somewhere between 200 and 500 is normal for me. This is the biggest audience that I've ever had. And it's at a time in my life when I'm doing everything I can just to survive. But how did that happen? It's putting yourself out there and it's trying to figure out, I can't just stand still. What is your strategy? So right now, listening to this, if you're currently married, you're a survivor of marriage. Look at you. Men, if you're alive right now, she didn't kill you in your sleep last night. Isn't that amazing? And what's even more amazing is that we're in the middle of a lockdown and the radio is full of stories. The people messaging and saying, oh, I can't stand my partner right now. And I have to tell my partner, stop walking so loudly because they're just on my nerves. Everything is so bad. I think we're going to see the divorce rates going, woo, it's going to skyrocket. If ever you wanted to be a divorce lawyer, now is the time. And then there are relationships where people have, quite new relationships and they haven't moved in yet. And they're like, well, 3 weeks, we can't see each other. What are we going to do? Let's move in. That'd be a great idea. Said nobody ever. You're surviving your kids right now. You're surviving homeschooling. If you've got kids that cry still and you change nappies, you're surviving that stuff. You don't have to get to a place to have survived it. So this is really important. Whether you have got the virus right now, whether you've had the virus, whether you are going to still get it, doesn't matter what the outcome is going to be. Right now, nothing has to happen for you to survive. If your house is bonded right now, it's mortgaged to the bank, your car is financed, you're a survivor of debt. You're a survivor of absolutely everything that has ever happened to you in your life. And the question I need to ask you is, does the quality of your life reflect the fact that you're a survivor of everything? Or are you sitting in lockdown, just hoping to survive it to the other side of lockdown? That's a very big question, because if you're just trying to survive every single day, hoping that somehow it's going to get better, I don't know that's a place I would want to be. I'm asking people the question, if you had to look back a year from now, at this time, and you had to look back at how you conducted yourself in terms of leadership of self, were you the best possible person that you could have been? Did you make the best decisions? Did you act in the best way possible for you, for your family, for your colleagues, for your clients? Or will you look back 6 months, a year from now and think, wow, I really could have done it better? That's a good question to be asking yourself right now. You are already a survivor. Does your life look like it? So I'd like you to think about survivor consciousness, that real being in a conscious moment to figure out, am I a survivor of everything? What have I already survived? Or do I feel that I'm only a survivor of debt once I've paid off my mortgage? I had to answer those questions going through cancer and say, at what point in time do I get to be a cancer survivor? When I'm in remission, when I'm clear of cancer, am I a cancer survivor? And the answer to that question was no. I'm awake, I'm alive, I'm breathing. I am already a survivor of cancer, which means that I get to act like I'm a survivor of cancer, which is why I did things like do a full Ironman race with stage 4 brain cancer, because it's a radical shift in thinking where I'm already a survivor of this thing. I'm already a survivor of the meltdown that was 2020. I already am. Here I am. I'm living and I'm breathing, and that's enough for now. So what makes it a little bit worse for us at the moment, there's been a lot of research done by top doctors and psychologists about the place we're in right now. And the thinking, and can fully believe it, is that every single one of us, well, we're collectively experiencing trauma, massive trauma. This thing is traumatic for all of us. And then individually, every single one of us is in a state of trauma. But the problem is that in any other trauma in your life, your body responds by secreting cortisol. And cortisol is called the stress hormone. And what that does is put your body into a place of stress. And when you're in a place of stress, your prehistoric ape brain has got two avenues of where we're going to go. And the one is flight and the other is fight or flight. But the problem is that you can do neither right now. You can't flight because you're stuck in your house, and you can't fight because you can't even see what you're fighting. This little virus, you couldn't even, it's a billionth of anything that you can really see. So you can't fight it. You're stuck in your home. You can't flight. So you're trapped in this place that is stressful. And how on earth are you going to manage that and navigate that journey moving forward? What does the future look like? And it's a really tough thing. So the question I want to ask you is, how are you going to survive the Rona? We are counting down the days. We're looking at the other side, the tunnel. Is there light at the end of the tunnel? How you survive the Rona? And a lot of people, and I've heard this more times than I care to even think about, you've seen this. Have hope. This too will pass. This too shall pass. I think that's a dangerous place to be. I think hope is amazing. Hope is really, really amazing. But this too shall pass, I don't like. I'm going to say no to that one. I'm going to tell you why. Because when we're sitting in this place of thinking this too shall pass, it kind of makes us feel that we cannot control the outcome. We're in this place of, well, I'm in a holding pattern in an aeroplane, and I'm basically just waiting. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just circling, and I'm waiting to land. And this too shall pass means I'm just going to wait it out until eventually the lockdown is over, we're going back to society, and things are going to return to normal. Where this too shall pass means it's going to return to something. And this too shall pass means that you don't actually have any control of the outcome. And that's an issue for me, and it should be an issue for you. So let's talk about hope just for a second. So I don't believe that hope is a solution. Let me make this distinction very, very clear. I think that hope is amazing. I think that hope is important. But hope isn't a solution on its own. Why do I say that? So I think most of you know Liesl, and you know that she's incredibly studious. She's got a bunch of degrees. She's like a professional student. She's got stuff all over her walls. And she's amazing like that. I am the opposite. So Liesl and I are both told on one day today that we're going to write an exam in 6 months' time. It's some PDE. She's writing PDE 10 in something, and I'm writing a PDE in 4 because I'm still trying to get through matric, whatever it is. Now, Liesl, being the person that she is, has already got a study timetable together. She knows every single day what she's going to do. She's fitting in the study amongst her family life and the legal life and this life and that life. And 3 months down the line, she's finished her studying, and now she's doing revision and she's doing mock exams, and Liesl is sorted. Richard, fly by the seat of his pants, lastminute.com, if there's no pressure, it's not going to happen, guy, phones Liesl up the night before the exam and says, Liesl, what do we need to study? Please tell me it's just like sections of the stuff. And Liesl says, no, we have to study all of it. And I say, no. Surely there's stuff that's more important than other stuff. And she says, Rich, you need to study it all. So I get Red Bull and BioPlus, and I do an all-nighter. And I try and study this stuff. And now she's relaxed and refreshed, and she's ready. And we get to the exam hall. And the day of the exam, she looks at me and she says, Rich, I really hope that I'm going to do well, and good luck to you. I look at her and I say, well, Lisa, I really hope that I'm going to do well, and good luck to you. Which one of us do you think that hope and luck is going to reward the most? Obviously, Liesl. I might surprise myself because I'm quite good under pressure. I might do a little better than I might have thought on one night studying, but there's no ways that I'm going to do better than somebody who's done what Liesl has done. Hope is amazing, but hope is only amazing once you put a strategy in place. I do quite a lot of cancer work, and Adi Phillips from Sunflower Fund. We were chatting before a talk I did, and I said, this is my feeling on hope. And she says, wow, our slogan is give hope. And I said, no, I love your slogan, because let's think about this thing. The hope that you're giving is based on an action. We're putting together an event where people are paying money so that you can provide hope. So the people you're giving hope to are hoping, but they're doing their best to survive and stay alive, and you're providing hope through an action. That's an amazing thing. To understand very clearly, I'm not dissing hope for a second. What I'm saying, though, is that work your ass off on a strategy worthy of hope. Hustle your backside off at this time. Work your ass off on a strategy worthy of hope. What is your strategy right now? If your strategy is this too will pass, if your strategy is I'm just waiting for this thing to be over, If your strategy is, I think we're going back to the past, it's going to be like it was before. You know, in real estate, there's that 80-20 principle. 20% of the agents are earning 80% of the money, whilst 80% of the agents are squabbling over the 20% that's left. The 20% that are going to make 80% of the money once the dust is settled are the people that have got a strategy right now that are working to that strategy and they're working their asses off. And then they will sit back and hope for the best outcome. So what we know right now is that restaurants are all closed, businesses are closed. And the question I want to ask is this: the restaurants might be closed, but does that mean that the people are not eating? So in your industry, real estate from a business point of view might be closed in some ways. Does that mean that the need isn't there? No, I think that the need is there, and I think the need is going to be there even more. And that might be a little bit unfortunate, but it's true. We all know about the 4 Ds of real estate, the 4 reasons why people sell. And the theory is that every single person that sells, the reason for selling can fit into one of these Ds. And you can say them with me. The first one is death, divorce, debt, and dollar, right? So dollar is the only kind of positive one. Dollar is, I'm flipping a property, I'm going to make a profit on it, it's an investment property, and I'm selling the property to make money. And not a lot of people are going to be going through that right now. But think of the other 3, and I know this is sad, but unfortunately, this is reality. I'm doing work for Avbob as well. And right now, you kind of think, well, sure, if there was an industry that's a good industry, if we're looking at things like places like Spain and Italy, Avbob is it. But can you imagine working there? Can you imagine the stress? Can you imagine having to deal with that on an ongoing basis? The families, the funerals, the policies. There's a lot of stress, and the people that are working for Avbob are essential services. They're having to work through this, and that's really tough. So death is there are people that are going to sell after this because death. And let's be honest, death happens normally anyway. Then divorce. You heard what I said earlier. If ever we're going to see a spike in divorces, I think it's going to be now. And then debt. It's a very, very sad reality. But times like this are going to put a lot of people into a lot of debt if they haven't already. All of those are reasons why people are going to move their homes. Whether they're renting, whether they're owning, they are going to move their homes. And people can only hold on for a certain amount of time. So do I believe that the entire market is going to tank? No, I don't. Not for a second. And I would hate you to believe that. I would hate you to think like that. Because the minute you think the market is bad, you start acting as if the market is bad. And why would you do that? I need you to believe that if ever there was somebody who was going to be able to handle and juggle whatever the future brings, it has to be you. You're the best person to be able to navigate whatever we are moving into and be in the now. And the now is, I can only control what I can control. What can you control right now? So I believe there's going to be a market. Do I believe that market values are going to decline? For sure they are. But does that worry me? No, it doesn't. You see, even in the worst times, people are asking me the question. A lot of estate agents are asking me the question right now, Richard, what do you think? Can we compare the market to 2008, 2009? Is it similar? And I'm saying, stop thinking like that. Stop trying to compare this market to any other market. We've never had this market. And even if it was similar to another market, how does that help you? It doesn't help you at all. Your only job is to figure out how you can capitalize on the market. And my job is to help you to capitalize on whatever the market is. And that's simple. That's easy. That's back to the old real estate principles. And we're going to go through that. So forced change is the best change. If you're not forced to change, we don't change. There are times in our lives when we grow the most. There are times in our lives when we evolve the most. It's messy, it's painful, but it is the best change. That's where you are right now. So there are a couple of things that I really, really, really would like you to stop doing. Stop them now. I would like that you stop selling. Richard, what on earth are you talking about? I'm a real estate agent. I'm in the game of selling. I know that. But what's happening in the space right now, and I've had to make the same decision, is every person who's a speaker right now is out there. They're clamoring for people's ears, and they're clamoring for a gig, and they're clamoring for money, and they're clamoring for a deal, because all of us are desperate. So what does that make us look? Desperate. So the more I go out there and say, and how do we sell right now? We negotiate down. Yes? So agents will say, oh, pick me, because I am going to do it for less commission. Pick me, because I'm going to throw in this, I'm going to throw in that, whatever that is. But pick me. And I've decided I'm not going to do that because, number one, that doesn't differentiate myself from anybody at all. It makes me look as desperate as everybody else. And the only way I can compete is by doing what? Is by reducing my value proposition and saying, pick me, I'll offer you free talks, I'll offer you free webinars, whatever that is. So, Richard, how do we stand out then? What are you saying? So what I'm saying is this: imagine that you were in the Rugby World Cup stadium in the town, or the closest town that you live in, and whether it's PE Stadium, where I know Liesel is right now, so PE Stadium, and all the agents have got an opportunity. You're all milling around in the middle of the stadium, and you say, okay, you've got an opportunity now to sell. How are you going to stand out? Because everybody's shouting. Everybody's holding up placards and advertisements and marketing. Everybody's doing that. So how are you going to stand out? And you can decide, well, I decide that I'm going to shout louder than everybody else, and maybe they're going to hear me. Or maybe my branding needs to be bigger or louder or more red. Or maybe I need bigger lettering or writing or whatever it is. I'm saying that's a really bad strategy. That's a really bad strategy. There's no differentiation there. I think the only way that you're really going to be heard right now is to pull the person next to you, close to you, and to whisper in their ear, just with some good personal space, because we need to worry about that stuff, right? And you're going to ask the question, how can I help you? Wow, what an amazing question to ask. Don't try and sell me something, especially now. Don't try and sell me something. I want you to be all over the social medias. I want you to be in people's faces. I want you to be sending out stuff if you can send out stuff. I want you to be out there, but not selling. Now's not the time to be selling. Now's the time to say, how can I serve? How can I help you? So first thing is, please stop selling. Number two, stop the desktop valuations. Richard, why would we be doing this? Okay, 2 reasons. Number one, your clients can already get them. They're going to pay a nominal fee from Property 24 or from whatever portal. But that's reason number one. But number two, how do you know what the market is right now? Have you sold? Has anybody sold a house right now in this market right now? And you might have put some after purchases together where you've got a clause in there that states that the purchaser has got 5 days or whatever it is after the final date of lockdown to view the property, and only if they view the property and like it will the deal go ahead. It's a suspensive condition. Maybe you're writing that in there. But that deal still hasn't gone anywhere. We still don't really know what the value is right now. So whatever you're telling me, if you're saying to somebody, let's have a virtual cup of coffee and we'll do a desktop valuation for you, I'm not so sure that's what I would be doing right now. I don't know. I think there's a different way of doing real estate right now, and I don't think it is pegging the prices on a desktop valuation, because right now we're looking in the market of yesterday, and it's pre the Rona. So maybe there's a different way of doing things right now, and I'll come back to that. So stop the negativity. I would love you to cut yourself off from anybody in your life who is negative. Anybody who's saying the future is bleak, anybody who's saying, oh, I'm fearful, I'm anxious or whatever, and blah, blah, blah. Cut yourself off from those people right now, because the only thing you can control right now are the thoughts in your head. And if you're feeling negative right now, the reason for that is because you're listening and you're reading things, and you're in control of what you read, and you're in control of who you listen to. So I want you to be very, very careful about that one. You are the gatekeeper to your mind. Stop the negativity. Stop the news. Same reason. Same reason. Stop waiting. What are you waiting for? Are you waiting for things to return to normal? There is no normal. Are you waiting for things to go back to what they were? Never going back to what they were. What are you waiting for? Waiting for it to be over so you can start business again? No, you can do business now. I don't want you to be waiting for anything. I don't want you to be wasting time. If your day isn't as full as it normally would be right now, you're doing it wrong. There are so many things that you could be doing and spending your time on right now. Somebody asked me the other day, so Rich, how are things going with the projects that are you doing any projects since lockdown? Because I've done this, and I'm like, projects. And my project is staying alive and trying to make some money and getting out there and spreading the love, and how can I help, and trying to be optimistic. And this is what I'm doing all day, every day. And there's no time for projects. And I've worked harder right now in these last 2 weeks than I think I've worked on this kind of stuff probably ever. And I'm loving it more than ever. So what is the stuff that you can be doing that is going to make you feel that you're alive and that you are moving forward? Very important. Stop thinking about the past. So those are the things I want you to stop doing, and that's really important for me. So the question I want to ask you now is, what is your product? I want people to be in love with my product. That's what that little picture says there. I want to be in love with my product. What is your product? And for a lot of you, I bet the answer is, my product is property. No, your product is not property. The product, property, belongs to your seller or your landlord. That's their product. That's not your product. Your product is the number of people that know me, the number of people that like me, and the number of people that trust me. That is your product. And if people don't love my product, it doesn't matter what the market is. It doesn't matter whether it's the worst market ever. It doesn't matter whether it's the best market ever. It really doesn't matter. If people don't know you, like you, and trust you, you don't have a market. They don't know your product. So if ever there was an opportunity right now for your market to get to know you, like you, and trust you, it would be now. And how are you going to do that? How are you going to be relevant in this time? Are you acting like a victim? Are you acting like you're desperate? Are you acting like you want to sell stuff? I need you to stop doing that, because that's not a product I know, like, and trust. I know it's hard. These are times that are uncharted, they're unprecedented. We've never been here before, but actually we have. This is every single day in the life of a real estate agent, is to figure out how you can get to know more people, how you can get those people to like you and trust you, and how you can become a household name. So that when the call comes, when the time comes and somebody says, hey, I want to sell my property, who is the first person that they phone? And if it is not you, you are doing it wrong. The market doesn't determine that. Coronavirus doesn't determine that. The only person that determines that is you. And what an incredible time to understand that message. There are people out there right now that are, I went to, drove to the shop the other day, and I couldn't believe how many for sale signs are still out there. And the thought that I had is those people are in a world of pain right now. There are people whose lives are on hold. They can't go to where they have invested themselves. They've already decided in their mind, they might have found another house. They've already invested themselves in wherever they're going to go, and somehow they can't. And what is your job right now? Well, you know, can you sell those houses? Or maybe you can with a clause. How many of you have been through the portals and have phoned up the people who own the houses, whose houses are on the market, even if they're not on the market with yours, and say, hey, I can imagine it must be a really hard time for you right now, and I just want to say I'm here for you. I might not be marketing your house, might not be even managed over your property, but I can understand how you feel right now, and is there anything I can do to help? Can I help the agent out? Is there anything you want to chat? Whatever it is have you made those calls? Because those are people who are in a world of pain right now. My ex-wife, my girl's mom, they're moving into a new house, they're renting, and they should have moved in on the 1st of this month. That's obviously all up in the air, but now their landlord is causing hassles on this side, and they're not sure about that side, and they're feeling like they're really trapped. There are a lot of people out there, and although you might not be able to help in physical ways where I can really do something with this transaction right now, be there. So whether you're part of the problem or whether you're part of the solution, you don't know which one you're going to be until you are actually there. And I think those phone calls are so important. One of the other things right now is, what does your database look like? Do you have a database of every single person in the area that you sell in, or do you sell in the whole of a town? Because if you sell in the whole of a town, I know Trevor chatted to you a lot about territories the other day, and about farming territories and knowing how many people, how many houses are in a street and how many people in those houses. And he's right. He's 100% correct. If you're not focusing on a small area, how many people can get to know your product? And if you're new in an area, if people don't know you, the only way you can get to know them is to pull them close, whisper in their ear. It's not going to be through mass marketing. It's not going to be through that at all. So now is a fabulous time to work at your database. But are you phoning the people on their birthdays? I'm sure that some of the people listening to this have had a birthday during lockdown or are going to have a birthday during lockdown. My goodness, that's not great. How cool it would be to have a phone call from somebody who says, hey, hi there, I just wanted to wish you your best day possible in lockdown, and how are things with you? Are you phoning those people? Are you phoning them for the anniversary of the purchase of their property? What a great time to do that. Hey, I don't know if you realize this, you've been in your house for 8 years now. I know that because your property transferred on this day 8 years ago. Wow. And just to catch up on life, what an incredible time to be doing those things. Even better if you can get those people on your laptop or on your device in a video, because we are not isolated right now. We're only isolated if we choose to be isolated. So I think there's an opportunity right now for many light bulb moments, for you to do things differently, for you to look at your business differently. What is your business model? I think that's an important one. Are you flying by the seat of your pants? Lastminute.com. I hope I'm going to get some more deals this month. I hope that one of the drops that I put out 2 months ago are going to return some dividends. I hope that my ads are going to work. I hope the marketing is going to work. I hope my brand is going to work for me. Or is your light bulb moment, hold on 2 seconds, it doesn't really matter what the market is. I get to control the market because I get to control me, and I get to control myself by how I build up my database of people that know me, like me, and trust me. And I think there's a good opportunity for that. So I spoke to people last week about getting through an Ironman with stage 4 brain cancer. And essentially what I said is that the only thing you can control is your mind, and then your mind, you can control the actions. So at this point in time in an Ironman, it's too long. I've got so much still to do. 3.8 kilometers swim, 180 cycle, 42.2 kilometer run. And this is just the swim. This is just the beginning of the swim. How do I get through the Ironman? I get through the Ironman one stroke at a time. That's all I can do, is to concentrate my thoughts on just one more stroke, on just one more stroke, on just one more stroke. That's all I can do. And my thoughts, all my thoughts are around what does my stroke look like? Am I pulling in the water properly? Are my hands the right distance apart? That's the stuff I can control. My thoughts to control my actions. And right now, stuck in your homes, you can control your thoughts. Your thoughts can control your actions. Your actions will determine what happens going forward. And that's incredibly, incredibly important. So keep moving forward. Whatever that is for you, keep moving forward. Figure out what that strategy is and keep moving forward to that strategy. If you've got time right now, build a database. If you've got time right now, start phoning people and getting those numbers right. If you've got time right now, start putting things together that you can send out. What is your plan post COVID-19? What is your plan post lockdown? What are you going to do? How are you going to move your business forward? How are you going to differentiate yourself from the other agents out there? Because bear in mind that there are, I don't know how many, these will probably tell me, but I would guess probably 50,000 of you right now. It's like there are 50,000 of you on that beach in Port Elizabeth, all about to go and do this thing and dive into the ocean, and you're all going to be swimming around that same buoy, and who's going to get there first? Who's going to stand out? Who the seller's going to pick? Well, they aren't. I think after this time, sellers are going to pick the people that they know, they like, and they trust. There's nothing new in real estate from that point of view. If you're looking for a silver bullet right now, if you're wanting to listen to Robin or Trevor or myself or Liesl or Cor, and you are hoping for a silver bullet, here it is. Secret to real estate success: do all the things that you don't want to do, and do all the things that nobody else wants to do. Do them often and do them well. And I need you to work harder than all the other agents work, and figure out what you need to be working at, because if just hard work was the key, the people digging the ditches on the side of the road would be the richest people. They are not. You need to work the hardest and be the smartest at what you do. So that's your silver bullet right there. There are no secrets to real estate success. So keep moving forward, and then prepare to serve. I think if ever there was a time when you were being called on to serve, it would be right now. I need you to figure out what you can do in your communities. I need you to be a part of your communities. I need you to reach out to people, and what a great call to make. So when you get hold of the people that live in your area and you're touching base and you're saying, how can I help you? Do you by any chance know of anybody in this area who has got some kind of initiative, whether it's feeding people, whether it's doing shopping for people, whether it is providing things for shelters? Do you know of a place where I can help out? Because I'd love to be that person. And I think there's tons and tons of opportunity for you right now. That's my strategy right now. I know that the chances of me making a lot of money in this time are non-existent, but I know that I'm living day to day to day to day, and every day things are changing. And one day things are going to change, and I'm going to have live audiences again. What those audiences are going to look like, I don't know. A conference is going to be 7 hours, where it's 1 hour a day over 7 days or over 3 months. I don't know what that's going to look like. But what I can do right now is I can get myself out there. I can get myself in front of more people than I ever have before, like now, and I can spread the love, and I can serve people by saying, how can I help you to be more motivated, inspired, and encouraged? And how can I help you to sell more, or to rent out, to let out more property? How can I be of service to you? And I think there's a very, very big need for that right now. So Winston Churchill said this, end of the Second World War, this isn't the end. This is just the end of the beginning. And a lot of people are saying that that's the last time we were in a place of crisis like this in the world. And what an amazing thing to thought or concept to think about right now, that this is just the end of the beginning. And what's coming now, wow, how amazing is that? Do I believe that you're relevant? Yes. Do I believe that you're going to have a market? Yes. Do I think that your market is going to be different? Absolutely. And that's a good thing. Nothing wrong with that. And remember, always remember that most of you specialize in the residential resale market, which means that for every person who's selling a property, they're buying another property, and they're buying and selling in the same market. So it doesn't matter if they're losing badly on the one side, they'll make it up on the other side, and vice versa. Same thing from a rental point of view. So it's never a good or a bad market if people are transacting within the same market. It is just the market. Your commission is always going to be under fire. That's real estate. Welcome to real estate. I started in 2002. That's never changed. As much as we think there's so much change right now, there really isn't. So I'd love you to fill in the things in the poll, but that's me done from a presentation point of view. Please connect with me if you haven't already. I'd love it if you do. Let's share our journeys together. If you'd like to spread some of the love in your offices or groups, please reach out to me as well. But what an absolute privilege it is just for me to share a couple of my thoughts for the platform from Van Deventers and Cravensteins again. Thank you so much. And I'd love to hear from you. So if you've got thoughts or questions or comments, here's your moment. I'm going to look through the no pre.
Can I jump in there, Richard?
Have you? Can I go in this one here? So Brahmswat says no prehistoric ape brain here. Maybe that side. I'm going to say yes, absolutely, and I'll tell you why. This is really interesting. So think about this for a second, right? So I might be in my study right now, and I want you to understand how your brain and how your body works. It's phenomenal. You've got the most amazing body. So we are only alive today. The only reason we're alive today as Homo sapiens, one of potentially 5, 6, 7 Homo species, potentially because there might be more that we don't know yet, is because of our response to flight or fight. Because our first response to anything in this world is a negative one. As soon as something changes, our first response is, oh, who touched me on my comfort zone? And then the next thing that happens is flight or fight. Now, that's prehistoric. That's just your instinct. It's been like that since day dot, before the Rinderpest. So we still have that prehistoric brain. And here's how I know that. So right now, I'm in stress. Why am I in stress? Because I'm presenting on a platform to 760 odd people. I can't see them. I don't know if they are there. I don't know if they are naked. I don't know if they are on their couch. I don't know if they've left and they're having something to eat and they're not even watching. I can't see the reactions. I can't hear them. I'm just talking to a computer. That's really stressful. So I'm sweating right now. Why am I sweating? I'm sweating because my prehistoric brain says stress, cortisol, I need to place you in that flight or fight. Am I likely to die right now? Well, hopefully not. But my body doesn't say, okay, we might not die, so let's not be stressed. Our prehistoric brain says this is how we respond in a time of stress or anxiety. It's the same when I'm standing at an Ironman at the beginning of a race. So I call it excited. I'm in an excited place right now. And when you're in an excited place, incredible things can happen. So if you're stressed right now, I'd reframe the word stress and anxiety to excited. I'm excited right now. Excited doesn't mean I have to be positive. Excited doesn't mean I have to be deliriously happy. Excited just means I'm in a good state where my body is ready for everything. My brain is computing in a faster speed than it ever does when I'm in my just normal, very relaxed state. I'm excited, and excitement is good. So Brahm, thank you for that.
Richard, can you hear me?
Yes.
It's Cor. Just the one there, going back to your products and building trust with sellers and purchasers. I think we all go through the same motions. Is picking up that phone, and how would you advise the property professionals out there to build a trust relationship with their sellers, to enable them to trust them, to give them that sole and exclusive mandate, to build that trust? How would you go about that, and what advice would you give them?
Okay, that's a really good question. Thanks, Cor. So this is how not to do it. Hi, my name's Richard, and I'm phoning you from, could be anybody. I'm phoning you from, this is my favorite real estate company. Hold on 2 seconds. Hi, my name's Richard. I'm phoning you from Sherlock Holmes. I wonder if I can interest you in a free, no obligation valuation of your home. No? Okay, thank you. Could I add you to my database where I'm going to send you spam until the day that you die? Can I do that? I'll just need your email address. Oh, that is really good stuff. Okay, well, thank you. And then phone the next one. That's how not to do it. I don't want you to talk about real estate. I don't want you to talk about property. How do you build up a friendship or relationship? So the first thing I want to say is the following. A relationship is not one conversation. A relationship is many conversations building on each other. A relationship is your ability to make the other person feel important. Are you good at making the other person feel important and heard? Or are you really good about speaking about yourself? Are you really good about selling yourself? Or is that all you want to do over that phone call, is tell somebody how good you are and how different you can do it and why they should pick you? Pick me, pick me. That's not how to build trust at all. It's that conversation that is just a conversation. It says, how are you doing right now? Who's with you in the lockdown right now? How are you handling a schooling situation? How are you handling university? How are you handling work? What does your daily routine look like? Getting an idea of how people in my area are handling things. And, can I tell you how some of the other people are handling things? In fact, I heard this from a guy, and I think it's so useful. This guy was talking about that talk from that Admiral McRaven guy about making your bed. And you know what? I learned something there because I wasn't making my own bed right now. that's quite a cool thing to do. See, the conversation is just conversational. That's the best thing you can do. The minute you phone me and then, so, you know, how are you? I'm just phoning to interest you in a, oh man, I'm dead. I'm already saying, you know, how soon can I put the phone down? So you know, and the worst thing you can do is phone someone and say, do you have a moment for me right now? We think that's polite, but it's horrific. That's just an opportunity for me to say, no, I'm really sorry. I'm doing anything but talking to you. And then the person says, well, when would be a good time? Well, never. But I tell you what, why don't you phone me at 5 this evening? And then I memorize the number and I make sure when the person phones me, I'm like, oh, no, it's them. And I just turn the phone over and put it down. So there are many, I mean, this is a whole conversation for me. There are so many things that I can help you with in terms of engaging with people, but it's emotional intelligence at the end of the day. And as a real estate agent, the best gift a real estate agent has is not real estate skills, not negotiating skills, is just emotional intelligence. Because that is your ability to relate to other people. It's your ability to be able to match against different people. It's your ability to get the best out of other people by giving the best opportunity to them. So make people feel important. That's it. I hope that helped.
Thank you so much, Richard. I learned a lot myself as well. I will go out there and motivate myself as well for the next week going forward. I think, as you said, we are all in the same boat here. For everybody out there as well, just quickly take a photo, tag yourselves, tag Gryvensteins, tag Richard, tag Liesel. It was a wonderful session. So please show also the support out there for all of us. Then just quickly on tomorrow, Liesel will be on training on the legal aspects of clauses during this lockdown period. I don't know if you want to say something on that quickly, Liesel. I can see you there.
Yes, no, nothing to add at this stage, Cor. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. I wonder if I'm stopping my video. Oh no, there, I can see myself. No,
So
I'm ready
side,
for tomorrow. I'm
look
just
out for the invite.
how,
Sorry, Liesel, go.
No, I'm just wondering how motivational that will be. It's always my job to bring the bad news, but I think we need to be practical. We need to make it work. So yes, see you tomorrow at 2 p.m.
It's 2 p.m. legal training on a Thursday. We'll push some of those clauses you guys can use. And as Liesel rightly said when we had a discussion earlier, it will be so applicable that during lockdown, how to approach various clauses, mandates, all those type of things. So I will send the invites out after this meeting. Liesel from Gryvensteins, once again, thank you very much. From Van Deventer and Van Deventer, myself and Arno, thank you very much, everyone. And most importantly, Richard. Brilliant talk once again. Learned a lot, and everyone out there, go apply it. Been an amazing audience, a big audience, Richard, as you can see again. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for your time. And yeah, see you next week. Also, comments if there's stuff you'd like me to chat about, anything, seriously, anything. I'm more than happy to put that into next week. So please let me know, and let's make it relevant and interesting and relative. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Cor. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good day, everybody.